The Kids Center Clinic started a long time ago when there were just physical therapists here seeing and treating patients all the time. And the therapists all felt that there was a need to discuss some of the more complex cases with the treating physicians, mostly the surgeons, orthopedics and neurosurgery. And so they decided to have a clinic at the same place so that the therapist and the physician could work together. So we get everybody's input, and it's a one-stop shop for these patients who have very complex problems. And that is even more time to spend with the family, more time to review their cases, because those kids are seen by all of these people together. And that whole day, it's a half a day, but in that period where normally I would see 15 patients or so, we together are seeing about 6 or 7. So there's more time focused on that patient, and it really provides them an excellent service.
So we have the full range of therapies that children need, with a broad range of different disabilities that kids are experiencing today. Occupational, physical, speech therapies. We also have clinics for special needs kids with spasticity issues and orthopedic issues. Generally, we'll see about 1,000 kids a year, and they come primarily from this part of the state and across into Indiana. But for the clinics, we may have kids come from out of state and hundreds of miles.
That's good.
Kendall was born with a brain injury, and she was also born with a seizure disorder, so that has limited her mobility.
When we first started coming here, she was extremely limited in most of the things that she can do. Just recently, she started to be able to slowly crawl by herself, which is a big accomplishment. She's able to sit by herself, and which she couldn't do when we started.
We tried to be really creative, find toys that they like, activities that they like, working on core strength in general, flexibility for most of our kids. We have a cool overhead tracking system, so Kendall wasn't able to stand and walk on her own yet, and I could put her in a harness system where it was taking some of the weight for her, keeping her from being unable to fall, and then I could sort of facilitate with my hands, help facilitate the muscles to enable her to walk.
We all want to be able to do things for ourselves and take pride in being able to do that. And as you grow up, it's kind of that skill that you continue to learn and continue to master. And we all want to be able to see kids be able to succeed like that.
You could see a physical therapist, occupational therapist working together with one child to help them really move forward in their progress.
On any given day, I can interrupt another physical therapist session, and they will stop what they're doing, come look at a child for me, assess their gait or give me ideas. We're constantly in the room, just sharing ideas, activities that we can do. And then the families, they all talk to each other, support each other. If someone, is trying to find an answer, there's usually a parent in the room who has gone through a similar experience and will share it.
What we really need is financial support, because the reimbursement rates from our insurance carriers that cover the services cover about 50% of the cost. We won't turn a child away because they can't pay. We expect them to do what they can, and then we ask our friends and donors to step up and help us provide these life-changing therapies for these kids and for these families that really, really need some help.
And for me to not come here, or for this clinic to dissolve, would mean that each of these kids has to go and receive these services at individual places around town. For families that are already strapped and reaching for different support and having trouble making it to all these different things, it's not acceptable. That's not an acceptable alternative. So if this weren't here, it would ruin everything. The outcomes would be worse. The families would be faced with traveling much further to get cohesive care, and that's not an acceptable alternative in any way, shape, or form.
I'm always impressed with the tenacity of these kids to rise above the challenges that they're experiencing. The whole staff, the whole team is here to support these children and their families.
People are attracted to it that are interested in it. We're attracted to it for the love of the patient, for the love of the goal, of the long-term goal. And so in the end, if everybody is in it for that reason, for the right reason, your outcomes are better.
Let's go.
Because of the Kids Center, Kendall has really improved. She's hitting milestones that we never knew that she would hit, and she's hitting them.
Watching these kids who are either behind their age in skill levels, but still, and have to work 120 times harder than a kid their age, but they never give up and they never complain, and it is really inspiring, and it makes me want to work harder. And when I set a goal for myself, when I want to quit or give up on it, I just think of all these kids and what they've overcome and how hard they work and continue to fight for years and years to accomplish their goals.
My daughter has been able to make leaps and bounds. If you looked at her a year ago, what she was able to do and what she's capable of doing today. Without the center, without CoSara Charities, families like mine would be in a very different situation.
There's just something special about this place, and you get to know the families on an intimate level, and you become vulnerable with them, and you hear about the struggles that they have every day and the unanswered questions that they have, and you get chills every time that a child is able to do something that that they've been told that they'll not be able to do, or they won't be able to meet, and the parent is just so overjoyed, and so is the child, because they're like, I've been working so hard to do this. And that's the best part of the job.
The support that the Kids Center has gave with the parents and the therapist, it's a big impact on me and my husband, and also Kendall's life. And without the Kids Center, I don't really know who I would lean on.
This needs to be here forever. There's not an option.